When it comes to e-bikes, there's a lot of options out there. There's also a lot of information, so it can make your search for the perfect e-bike a little confusing and very overwhelming. There's two main systems when it comes to e-bikes. You've got a hub drive and a mid-drive. With the hub drive, the motor is situated in the rear wheel of the bike, and with the mid-drive system, the motor is in the bottom bracket. The hub drive system, where the motor is situated in the rear wheel of the bike, allows you to have a throttle where you just push a button and the bike goes all by itself. There's a couple cons to this system though. One, fixing that wheel from flat fixes to spoke fixes are quite a bit harder and more labor intensive. Because there's so much weight and technology in that rear wheel, it is really hard to do quick fixes. The other thing is, we live on the West Coast, so it gets really wet. And with all of that weight in the rear wheel and all of the power coming from the rear wheel means when you get going on a wet day, you'll notice a little bit of skid or a bit of surging, so it can be a little bit more unpredictable. The hub-driven system means that the motor is in the bottom bracket of the bike. This does a couple things. One, it centers the weight in the middle of the frame of the bike, which just evens it out a little bit. The other thing is it means that the motor is integrated into the frame of the bike, which is just a bit more secure. With the hub-driven systems, the motor is assisting your pedals, and so it's a really smooth, predictable form of power. Virtually all of the e-bikes you'll find at Oak Bay Bikes are the hub-driven systems. For our West Coast riding and from our mechanics experience, we find these ones are the most reliable and the most mechanically sound. When we choose the brands of e-bikes we bring into Oak Bay Bikes, we look at a couple of things. One of those is the quality of the parts and the components on it. Because you're adding power and assist to the bike, the parts and components are under a bit more strain. So we want to make sure that they're high enough quality that they're going to be able to handle the extra power the bike's putting out. The other thing we look at when choosing our brands is the motor and the battery. We want to make sure they're not proprietary. Some brands have chosen to go with motors and batteries that are specific to their brand. This does make it a little harder, one, to get parts, and two, to get them fixed. You have to take them to that specific brand. So when you buy a bike from us, we want to make sure that the parts aren't so specialized that if you're out riding, traveling, you can't go anywhere to get them fixed. With our motors and our batteries on the bikes that we sell, they're not proprietary. So they're name brands like Bosch and Shimano, which means one, getting parts is a lot easier, but it also means if you go traveling or if you're out on the road and something happens, you can take it to another bike shop and likely they'll have no problem fixing it. So with the Bosch systems, you'll have 4 different levels of assist. With the Shimano, you have 3. But the bottom end and the top end of assist are both the same, there's just a different number of notches in between. The motors and the batteries on all of our bikes are super high quality, and there's no need for range anxiety. With even some of the base level of bikes we carry, you can get up to 140 kilometers on a single charge. When you go up in price in an e-bike, you'll notice a couple things. One, the battery becomes integrated into the frame of the bike, which is one, a little bit of a sleeker look, but it's also just a little bit lighter. The other things you'll notice is there's a little bit more range and the motor feels a little bit peppier, so just a little bit more get up and go on the hills. On all the e-bikes, the battery is locked into the frame of the bike, which means you can go and have a coffee without worrying that someone's going to take the battery off of your bike. But you can unlock it and bring it into your house to charge it, no problem. When you're charging the battery, it takes about 2 hours to get from empty to about 50%, and then another 2.5 hours to get a full charge. The next step in picking out your e-bike is deciding on which frame style you want. From super low step through to a traditional frame, we've got options for everyone. After you've decided on that, it's really about getting on the bike. All of the bikes do feel a little bit different. From their motor to their riding style, they're all unique. So the next step is trying them out. We highly recommend you come in store and check them out. We also have a demo on demand program where we'll bring the bike to you, drop it off, you can try it for a couple of days and we'll pick it up when you're done, and there's no charge for that. And it allows you to try and test each of the bikes where you live and where you ride. If you have any other questions or you want help picking out the right e-bike for you, live chat with us, give us a call, or come on down to the store. We'd be happy to help you out.